before we get started here, I just wanted to let the YouTube algorithm know that I am a fully licensed medical grower in Canada, where it is fully legal. I have paperwork to back it up. Everything I do is 100% within the law of my country. And this is for documentation and entertainment purposes only.
Hello there.
Hi everybody, CANNABEARD Grows here. How the heck are you doing? Man, what a beautiful day today. Haven't had too many of these over the past couple of months, so enjoy them while we can for sure. I got a new toy. I got a drone. I bought a drone. Hopefully I'll be able to use some of the footage with it once in a while to make things cool. I don't know. I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna make it a drone channel or anything like that, but you know, for cool intros and wide shots of the outdoor and stuff and whatever. I'll use it as I can, but I won't flood you with it, I promise. Anyway, today's episode, we're going to be talking about, first and foremost, making seeds. Seeds are something everybody needs lots and lots and lots of. I've got a genetic that I had grown the very last seed. The only way for me to get more of these seeds, because they don't sell them anymore, was to clone it and then self-propagate it. And that's exactly what I've been doing. I've got clones ready. I'm almost ready to start the propagation procedure. So we're going to start a seed project here on the channel. We're going to make some seeds. Yeah, I'll show you how to make some seeds. Make your own seeds so you don't run out of your goodies there. We'll take a look at we'll take a look at the clones, we'll look at the outdoor, and we'll discuss the seeds. That's what's going on today. So if you like the channel, like the channel. If you really, really like it, subscribe, and then you can get notified and stuff when new episodes come out and all that kind of jazz. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Well, here we go. The outdoor stuff. It's getting pretty good. It's definitely into the flower state. It's packing it on. These are going to be pretty good bud towers, I believe. Peanut butter breath here up in the front. These girls looking pretty darn good. They've only been fed with GROWGARAGE top dressing and compost teas and such. I did give them some bottled CalMag just to be sure, but that's it. And these ones here are the Mango Kush. Again, starting to, you know, flower out, looking pretty good, I guess. Yeah, bottoms are just full of, hey, we got a little clover flower there. Right on. Oh, we got a dry ass leaf there. This plant right here was pretty droopy the other day. I thought I'd been watering all of them the same amount all the time, but yeah, this one was kind of drooping on me the other day. So a couple of little yellowy looking leaves here isn't totally unheard of, but not ideal by any means. Yeah. So yeah, that's the outdoor stuff. Looking pretty good, I guess. Not bad. Okay, let's go back inside. Well, here we are in the grow room, and as you can see, things have been moved around a little bit. This tent right here, this little 2x4, was over in the corner right behind the camera tripod. This one was out in the front room with a rack in it and lights that we were using to start all of our seedlings for this spring. And it's been sitting there empty ever since. So here's the plan. Here's the plan. Currently, I've got the clones in this 2x4 over here. There we go. I've got all 3 clones in this 2x4. I want to start flipping one early and spraying it with colloidal silver. So pick one plant and spray it with colloidal silver once a day or so for 2 weeks. And you will see it transition into a pollination sacs instead of female sacs, maybe even both. but it will now start producing pollen, which you can use to impregnate the rest of your crop as needed. So from my understanding of it, here's the rundown. A female plant can only ever produce XX chromosomes. You can make it into a pollinator where it creates pollen that it can pollinate and impregnate other plants, other females, including itself, but it will still only carry the XX chromosomes. Hence why they call it feminized. It is very, very rare that you will get a male in this scenario. You know, life will find a way. But yeah, that should be how it works. And that's how I'm going to do it. It is a female that produces pollen, but that pollen will still only be XX chromosomes. The female chromosomes, not XY, the male chromosomes? I might be saying it wrong. Let me know in the comments if I got that backwards. I probably do. But you know what I'm saying. You need male and female chromosomes to give you the possibilities of both. But when you self-seed something or seed clones like this, you're going to get feminized seeds. They're going to be feminine. They're only going to be feminine. You might get the very, very odd hermaphrodite plant or something like that, or a very occasional male could pop out, but it's extremely rare. When they say a feminized plant or feminized seeds, they mean it. Anyway, that's the plan. This one here is going to take the one that we're gonna flip into a pollinator, and these two are just going to hold the ladies, the two ladies that are going to be the seed donors or whatever, the pregnancy ones. So I'm going to flip this for, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ahead of time. I don't want to go too crazy, but I want this starting a little earlier so that by the time this one is in full pollen, these ones are just getting into the good flower, and I'll have pollen available when these go into flower. Whereas if you do them both at the same time, sometimes the females are receptive and ready before the male's even got its male, before the pollinator has its pollen ready. Yeah, the male-female plant thing, you get a bit confused when you start talking about feminized seeds and self-seeding and stuff like that, but you get the idea. So, let's take a look in these tents and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, first off, we've got this little tiny MARSHYDRO tent with a TS1000 light sitting right in here. That's going to more than do the single plant that we're going to turn into a pollinator. This is a pretty small little tent, but it's perfect for multiple needs. I got a plan with this after the seeding project is done, but I'm not letting that cat out of the bag until we're at that point. Anyway. But first, before we get any further, I got to take a quick moment and thank today's sponsor, MARSHYDRO. Thank you very much, MARSHYDRO. I've been growing with MARSHYDRO products almost exclusively for my entire YouTube career, and I love their stuff. I really, really do. Their new smart line of technology and their new lights, the new LEDs and stuff are just so good, so good. It's truly making growing easier and easier. It's never been easier to get into growing. So use my name as a discount code, save yourself a couple of bucks, and get into that easy growing if you haven't already pulled that trigger. And if you do, thank you for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoy your Mars stuff as much as I do. So thank you very much, and let's get back to the show. And now on to the clones. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, they're doing okay. I think I need to start giving them more nutrition. I'm getting a little bit of this going on here. Let me see if I can pull one of these leaves off. Yeah, there we go. I'm getting a bit of this kind of action happening here. And I think that might be either a watering issue or a nutritional deficiency of some sort. Let me know in the comments below. I've got a couple of leaves that do that. Not too many. Here's another one over here. Yeah, there's a couple in here that do that. Not a lot, but that's not a great sign. I wish I could... I think I'm just going to go back to a regular feeding schedule with these things, and I should be all right now. Anyway, they are looking good. We do have new growth on them and stuff. Yeah, so this is working pretty good so far. All this is under a MARSHYDRO SP3000. Pretty soon, in the next couple of months, I'm going to be getting an upgrade for this, and we're going to retire this to the closet. this light is as awesome as it truly is. This is the greenhouse edition, by the way, if I haven't said that already. But these SP3000s and the 6000 series, they're not meant for home purposes. I never turn this thing's volume control, intensity control, past like 5. It's crazy, man. It's just too powerful for home grows. These are designed to be like up in the ceiling of a grow show, high above the canopies, and for you to like use the volume control system on a daisy chain to have them all sort of dim and brighten as needed. But it's supposed to be like 6 feet away from your plants or something at full power. It's quite a light. It's just too much for my purposes in this little tent scenario. Anyway, we've come across a small little problem. We've already battled the spider mites. I sprayed everything down in the house. I don't think I have spider mites again. I'm going to keep vigilant on it. I'm going to order some Lost Coast plant therapy for the plants. Spray them down with that once in a while. And I did, however, the other day when I was watering, I saw a couple of gnat flies come up crawling around on the soil and come out fly around when I was watering. Not many, not an infestation, but I got a plan. There's an easy method to get rid of that. There's a couple of easy methods, and we're gonna go over what I'm gonna do here right now. Okay, so I've got a 2-fold secret weapon that we're gonna use here today. Number 1, probably your first guess, diatomaceous earth. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit of DT on the tops of all of those. Then I'm gonna top all of them off with this. And no, that's not cocaine. It's perlite. It's the stuff you stick in your soil, right? But I have a huge bag of it. Ooh, it's a big cloud. I gotta be careful not to airborne too much of this stuff. I'll show you this under a microscope. This stuff's pretty awesome. This stuff is very jagged and rough at a microscopic level. It will act as a physical barrier to the bugs trying to get in or out of the soil. So I'm going to put some DT on the top, and then we're going to do a top dressing of that so that the bugs just can't get through anymore. That's the plan. Okay, so we've got to be pretty careful with this stuff as well, as it's a very fine particulate. But we don't need a whole lot. I would like to have been able to get the whole pot here, but maybe if I... Nope, that ain't gonna do it. I thought maybe I shook it around a little bit, but nope, that kind of made it worse. Well, we'll just do what we can, and then the DT is very, it's basically like glass shards. It's kind of gross when you think about it on a microscopic level, but they try to crawl through it, and it just shreds them. It just rips them up and shreds them, and gets in between their chitinous exoskeletons, and yeah, it's real bad for them. Real bad time. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of dust coming off this. I really probably should have wore a dust mask here for this today, but... So, there's the idea. And then I just spread this all around like this, and you can still water right over top of this, no problem. You might end up getting some dirt coming through, like that right there. You almost definitely will. But that's okay, that's okay. You just work with what we got here. Hopefully the combination will slow down any little bug infestation that was trying to kick in there. Yeah, I just saw a little gnat fly flying around, man. He's probably freaking out already. How do I get back in there? You don't, buddy. You fucking don't. Not if I can help it. There we go. That's pretty darn good, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, there's uncovered stuff here a little bit, but yeah, let me see if I can get that last little bit there. And a little bit in that back corner there. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's better. Okay. Now that that's done, that's my method. That's what I'm going to do this time here. Let's water these things. So get down that dust too. So let's do that. Okay, here we go. And there we go. There we go. It looks pretty darn good. That brought everything down to kind of a normal. Oh, I see one. I see a bug back there. Look. Yeah, I saw a bug. I don't know if you can see it there, but I saw one, a little gnat fly running around on the top of that, trying to figure out how the hell to get back down. They might still be able to lay eggs on these little bits of soil pieces here, but this should slow them down astronomically. And if this doesn't work, and if they still continue to be a pain in my ass, honestly, just some of those yellow sticky fly traps work really, 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 really well. They really do. Anyway, let's move this fan back into a normal position here, and I gotta turn all this weed a little bit around here. There we go, so everybody's got lots of room. There we go. All set, all done. Well, folks, that's about all we got here for today. Yeah, awesome stuff. I really hope that gnat fly thing is gonna work. And I think those drone shots are pretty cool. I'll get better with it over time, and I won't, like I said, I won't flood you with it or anything. The outdoors looking pretty darn good. And as far as this tent here goes, that'll be a next week thing. We'll move one of those over here next week, and we'll flip it into flower, and we'll start spraying it. We'll do all that starting next week. So if you're interested in the seed breeding project, don't forget to hit subscribe and like the video if you like it. I hope you do. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, hit that bell for notification. Don't forget to hit that bell because you're not going to want to miss the next episode. You're going to want to stay tuned and see how this plays out, and maybe learn something off of seed propagation. I'm still learning myself, so I ain't no expert. But thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you next one.